Matilda wasn't just a children's movie about a girl with telekinetic powers. It was a film where the star's mother was dying during production, the villain got seriously injured multiple times, and Danny DeVito showed a grieving family the final cut in a hospital room before anyone else saw it.
To do to gain respect around here, I'm gonna give you a tanning like you never heard in your life. My word is my law.
What started as Danny DeVito reading a bedtime story to his daughters became one of the most beloved family films of the 90s. But behind Mara Wilson's innocent smile and those floating objects were real tears, genuine danger, and a cast that became a surrogate family during the darkest of times.
These are 20 weird facts about Matilda, and buried in the magic is a story about how Hollywood's biggest hearts showed up when it mattered most.
Number 1. Most child actors get special treatment on set, but one young performer had to endure something no kid should face. Jimmy Cars, who played Bruce Bogtrotter, didn't actually eat that entire chocolate cake. The scene took several nights to film, and between each take, Jimmy had to spit out the cake to avoid getting sick. But here's the weird part. The makeup team had to carefully reapply chocolate around his mouth each day to match exactly where it was the previous night, and he wore the same filthy shirt for continuity. What looked like one disgusting feast was actually days of carefully choreographed fake eating. Number 2. Several real locations became part of Matilda's world. The exterior of Matilda's house is located on Youngwood Drive in Whittier, California. The library where young Matilda discovers her love of reading is the Pasadena Public Library on East Walnut Street. And Miss Trunchbull's imposing house was actually the Crank House in Altadena, California. These real places became magical through the lens of childhood wonder. Number 3. Sometimes the best casting happens at home. Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman weren't just playing Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood. They were actually married in real life when the film was made. Their natural chemistry as a dysfunctional couple came from years of real marriage, though thankfully, they were much better parents to their actual children than the Wormwoods were to Matilda. Number 4. When you think of terrifying movie villains, you probably don't imagine them getting rushed to the hospital multiple times during filming. Pam Ferris, who played Miss Trunchbull, went through hell to become that character. The transformation required prosthetics to change her nose, hundreds of hand-painted freckles and blood vessels, a mascara mustache, and specially stained teeth. But the real pain came during action scenes. In the climactic blackboard eraser scene, she had to keep her eyes open while chalk dust flew everywhere, requiring several emergency hospital visits to wash out her eyes. And when she spun Amanda Thripp by her pigtails, the centrifugal force was so intense it tore the top of Ferris's finger, requiring 7 stitches. The most abusive character in the film was actually the one getting abused behind the camera. Number 5. The movie's box office performance tells a story of delayed recognition. Despite positive reviews, Matilda was initially a disappointment, earning only $47 million worldwide against a $36 million budget. But something magical happened after its theatrical run. It found its true audience on home video. Kids who missed it in theaters discovered it on VHS and DVD, turning it into a beloved classic that continues to enchant new generations. Number 6. You'd think the hardest part of filming magical scenes would be the special effects, but sometimes the real challenge was just getting a shy kid to dance in front of a camera. Mara Wilson was mortified about dancing alone on camera for Matilda's telekinetic celebration scene. So, Danny DeVito came up with a solution that shows why he was perfect to direct this film. He asked the entire crew to dance with her. Everyone on set started moving to the music, creating a party atmosphere that made Mara comfortable. The only person who couldn't dance was the camera operator, because shaky footage would ruin the shot. What you see as Matilda's joyful moment was actually dozens of grown film professionals dancing off camera to help a nervous child feel comfortable in the shot. Number 7. The most technically challenging scene wasn't the flying books or moving erasers. It was making chalk write by itself. When the ghost of Magnus writes his threatening message on the blackboard, they achieved this through magnetic trickery. A crew member stood behind the board, holding a piece of chalk with a strong magnet inside. On the front of the board was another magnetic chalk that would stick and move. The message was written backwards on the back of the board, so the crew member just had to trace the letters with his magnet to make the message appear on the front. It was like a supernatural etch-a-sketch that terrified Miss Trunchbull and amazed audiences. Number 8. You'd think 8 different people playing one character would create continuity nightmares, but Matilda's casting was actually a masterpiece of age-appropriate storytelling. Mara Wilson was the main Matilda, but she was supported by 5 other young performers who played her at different ages. Newborn Matilda was played by twins Alyssa and Amanda Graham, plus James Gallagher. 9-month-old Matilda was Kayla Fredericks. 2-year-old Matilda was Amanda Fine. And 4-year-old Matilda was Sarah Magdalene. This wasn't just practical filmmaking, it was a deliberate choice to show Matilda's intellectual growth over time. Each younger actress had to capture the essence of a brilliant child at different developmental stages, creating a seamless progression that made Matilda's extraordinary intelligence feel authentic from birth to school age. Number 9. Creating movie magic often means hiding the mechanics, and Matilda's telekinetic effects were no exception. That floating water picture wasn't CGI. A pole was attached to the bottom of the picture and fed through a hole in Miss Honey's desk. A crew member crouched underneath would push it up on cue, then Embeth Davids would push it back down, and the pole was digitally erased in post-production. Simple, effective, and completely invisible to audiences who thought they were watching pure magic, and it worked. Number 10. Most movie houses are just sets built on sound stages, but Miss Trunchbull's imposing mansion had a secret Hollywood history. The building used for Miss Trunchbull's home was the historic Crank House in Altadena, California, which was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1997. But here's the weird part. This wasn't the house's first time playing a villain's lair. The same building had already appeared in Hocus Pocus as Allison's house, Scream 2 as the Omega Beta Zeta sorority house, and Catch Me If You Can as Roddy's house. Miss Trunchbull's terrifying home was actually one of Hollywood's most frequently used creepy house locations, making it the perfect choice for housing the film's most frightening character. Number 11. The film's most heartbreaking behind-the-scenes story involves real tragedy intersecting with movie magic. Mara Wilson's mother, Susie, was diagnosed with breast cancer in March 1995 during filming. As her condition worsened, there was genuine fear she wouldn't live to see her daughter's performance. Danny DeVito made an extraordinary gesture. He showed Susie Wilson a rough cut of the film while she was undergoing treatment, months before anyone else saw it. Susie Wilson died in April 1996, 4 months before the film's release. The movie is dedicated to her memory, and DeVito's compassion during this tragedy shows the real heart behind the magical story. Number 12. That dedication wasn't just words on screen, it changed Mara Wilson's life forever. Her mother's death during the film's production caused her to lose interest in acting. Since Matilda, she's only appeared in a handful of TV and film roles, choosing instead to focus on writing and other pursuits. The film that made her famous also marked the end of her childhood acting career, making her performance as Matilda both a beginning and an ending. Number 13. The idea for Matilda came from the most wholesome place imaginable. Danny DeVito's daughters brought home Roald Dahl's book and asked their father to read it to them. As he read aloud, DeVito became completely absorbed in the story's cinematic potential. What started as bedtime reading became his passion project, where he served as director, narrator, and star. Sometimes the best films come from parents who never stop being enchanted by children's stories. Number 14. Roald Dahl fans will spot hidden references throughout the film. When Matilda tells Miss Honey how much she loves Charles Dahl, mispronouncing Dickens, it's a nod to Dahl's novel The BFG, where a character makes the same mistake. But the most touching tribute is the portrait of Miss Honey's father, Magnus, which is actually a real photograph of Roald Dahl himself. The author's face literally watches over the story he created. Number 15. The film's visual style was deliberately exaggerated to match Roald Dahl's storytelling. Danny DeVito and cinematographer Stefan Chapsky used wide-angle lenses and forced perspective throughout the film, similar to Terry Gilliam's distinctive visual approach. This wasn't just stylistic choice. It was designed to make the adult world look as imposing and distorted as it feels to a small child. Number 16. The film features some unexpected Hollywood connections. Paul Reubens, who plays the FBI agent, was famous for Pee Wee Herman and had previously worked with Danny DeVito in Tim Burton's Batman Returns. These weren't random casting choices. They were DeVito bringing together his favorite collaborators for a film that felt like a family reunion. Number 17. Mara Wilson's personal connection to her character went deeper than acting. Danny DeVito specifically asked her to design and make Matilda's homemade doll herself, so she would feel more attached to it during filming. This wasn't just a prop, it was a piece of Mara's own creativity that made her performance more authentic. This goes to show the level the crew went to make this movie successful. Number 18. The film almost never got made, and it had nothing to do with the script or budget. The Roald Dahl estate was reportedly disappointed with previous adaptations, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Also, The Witches. They were reluctant to license another property. The breakthrough came when screenwriter Robin Swickard and her husband decided to write the screenplay for free, hoping to win over Dahl's widow, Felicity. Their gamble paid off, and Matilda got the green light. Number 19. Behind the movie magic was cutting-edge practical effects that audiences never noticed. The flying books were achieved by having a crew member lie on his back on a skateboard with books attached to poles, while another crew member pulled the skateboard with ropes to make the books glide across rooms. The poles were digitally removed in post-production. It was low-tech solutions, creating high-tech illusions. Number 20. The film's legacy extends far beyond entertainment. In 2010, Matilda the musical premiered in London, bringing Dahl's story to the stage with new songs and expanded character development. The musical became a global show, proving that Matilda's story of a brilliant child overcoming adversity continues to resonate with audiences worldwide. In 2022, the musical was adapted into its own film, creating a new generation of Matilda fans while honoring the original spirit. Matilda gave us more than telekinetic powers and chocolate cake punishment. It showed us what happens when Hollywood's biggest hearts create something truly magical. From Danny DeVito's bedtime reading sessions to his compassionate gesture toward a grieving family, from Pam Ferris's painful dedication to Mara Wilson's authentic performance, every weird fact reveals people who cared deeply about bringing Roald Dahl's vision to life. The real magic wasn't in the floating objects or flying erasers. It was in the love, creativity, and genuine human connection that made a story about a lonely, brilliant girl into a film that continues to inspire children to believe in their own extraordinary potential.
But Matilda's story is just one example of how the most beloved family films often have the most surprising behind-the-scenes secrets. If you want to discover more hidden stories from your favorite childhood movies, like and subscribe for our future videos. Take care. See you next time.